computer. Okay, so welcome everybody. I think we're all live and streaming and recording. So welcome everybody to Financial Literacy Workshop, Budgeting for Success. My name is Barbara Dickinson. I'm the Executive Director of the Friends of Handley Regional Library. The Friends have been around since 1977 and always their mission and goal to support the library through offering free programs that create connections for information and entertainment. We always want to provide ways to keep you all learning something and keeping that curiosity spark alive and well within you by participating in things that the library has to offer, like coming to a program like this, coming into the library to a program when things get a little bit healthier for us all, and maybe find a book or a magazine or a database or something to further your interest in the world of financial literacy. I want to tell you a little about tonight's format. You all are welcome to have your cameras on and participate with this discussion. Mary is really, her plan is to have a lot of dialogue and Q&A back and forth, and your microphone's off. That's the way. If you prefer, you can put it in the chat room or the chat bar for Zoom or on Facebook, and I'll keep an eye on that and share those with Mary. And so we're just looking for finds ways for a lot of good conversation and dialogue this evening. The opinions expressed in this program are for general information only. They're not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations, but are to provide education for personal finances. So now the reason we're all here is to meet and talk with Mary Butler. She has a master's degree in counseling and college student personnel. Her experiences cover career services, academic coaching, and student development. She's currently an academic retention specialist at Shippensburg University in that beautiful town of Shepherdstown, West Virginia. So my pleasure to introduce Mary. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Barbara. And it's awesome to see you all. I enjoy talking about this and finances in general too. So I figured to get us started and get us comfortable in the Zoom meeting and using the chat and kind of interacting with each other, I have a few would you rather questions. So feel free to unmute yourself and answer, type it in the chat, or we can do a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So the first one is, would you rather live without the internet or live without AC and heating?
Wait,
We have to pick. We have to pick.
You have to pick. Yes, I'll read it again. Would you rather live without the internet or live without AC and heating? And again, feel free to use the chat or unmute yourself and let us know.
I think Lauren, without AC and heating.
Yep. Okay, Aaron, without AC and heating. Aaron, I'm with you. I need the internet.
So could we have like internet at work and AC and heating at home?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'd say yes.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Lauren?
For home, I agree. Home would be AC and heat, and work would be internet.
Okay. Yes. So, all right, cool. The next one is, would you rather never be able to eat meat or never be able to eat vegetables?
Ooh. Meat.
Oh yeah, meat.
I can live without meat, actually.
Yeah.
No meat, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I need my veggies.
Yeah, I agree.
No tomatoes would be too hard.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jessica says, can you use public Wi-Fi for the last one? Yes, I'd say yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I think the consensus is no meat on that one. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So our next one would be, would you rather lose the ability to read or lose the ability to speak?
Oh,
These are hard.
these are really hard.
Mm.
Oh, you're asking
Ooh, that one is hard.
library people.
I know, right?
But if you could read and write, you could communicate. If you
True.
speak, that's
Uh-huh.
sort of my
What do we got in the chat here? Are audiobooks and
Podcast still allowed? No, okay.
yes.
Yeah.
And Jessica uses audiobooks. All right.
Oh, so, okay, so you would say, yeah, it
I would
I'd
is.
say that I would lose the ability to speak because reading is fundamental.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a toughie.
Okay. All right. This is our last one. Would you rather have super sensitive taste buds or super sensitive hearing?
Hearing.
Hearing.
Music.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Cool. Awesome. And I love that we're using the chat too. That's perfect.
Yeah.
And Aaron, taste. All right. Awesome. Okay. So our goal for this evening is to make a budget or modify one that you already have. Some of the instructions too were to bring like a pencil, paper. So if you have that, have that handy and ready to take any notes, or like I said, to make a budget. So let's start off with why. Does anybody know why they want a budget? Why you came to this workshop? Why you feel like you need a budget at this time in your life? So for me, I graduated college, let's see, 2017, 18, 19, 20, 4 years ago. And I was, starting to grow up, having to buy more things. I moved in with my partner and we needed to pay for things together. So I was like, I need a budget. There's a lot going on here. I need to figure that out. So what do we have? To get better control over money, over our money. Exactly. And you used our, Lauren, does that mean there's a family? Yes. I remember that picture you saw, or we saw earlier. Yes. All right. So yes, that's probably the consensus, to like get control of your money. So when you're thinking about a budget, I really want you to think about a budget tells your money where to go. So hopefully all of us have a job of some sort. So when that money comes to you, you need to tell it where to go. And that is like number one, that control. Number one, you're already having that control because you're going to be telling your money where to go with a budget. And I would also think about it as a living document too. So right now, today, 3/16/2021, you make a budget, you have it set, but in a year from now or 2 years from now, it may change. So it's a living document. It's not something that you just make one time and it just fits the rest of your life. Many things can happen. Life is interesting. So your budget should match that too. And I think I saw someone put the speaker view. Is it okay if we keep it on the gallery view?
Yes, sure.
See everybody? Okay, perfect. All righty then. So my next question is how? How do you have a budget if you have one? Is it pen and paper? Do you use an app? Do you share one with someone else? So what do you have now? All right, Lauren says pen and paper. And if you don't have one, that's an answer too. Currently, I use an app on my phone. How about you, Cheryl? What do you use?
My husband does it all.
Ah, okay, yeah. Yep. You share it with somebody else, exactly. And Google
This
spreadsheet.
is why the reason I need to be here.
Gotcha. All right. Perfect.
There's a
Awesome.
Google spreadsheet. So that's another app. Yeah, that's.
Yep. All right. So let's start with income. So I'm going to use the number $40,000 a year. Okay. So if I make $40,000 a year, that's my salary. And then if we divide that by 12, it actually comes out to be like 3,333, 33333 repeating. So we're just going to round it off to an even 3,000. We'll say after taxes, you're taking home $3,000 a month. Okay. So just to keep all of us on the same page, we're looking at a $40,000 salary and then $3,000 a month. Okay. That's going to be your income for the month. Now, back to when I say that you're telling your money where to go. we all know that we need some place to live. We all need to eat for survival. So let's define wants versus needs. So let's start with needs. Like I said, shelter, eating, what other needs are necessary? So feel free to share those or put them in the chat. So I said shelter, food. Some people would even say the internet is a necessity. I think it's a necessity, especially in these times. Education, perfect. Water, electricity, excellent. Yes, so with the transportation, awesome. Gas money, depending on your transportation, you need to put gas in it. All right, perfect. So let's take these needs, and if there are any missing, and some may be more appropriate to you than others, you can feel free to put them in the chat. So let's take these line by line. So shelter, whether you live in a house, you live in an apartment, you live with your parents or whoever, think about that number that you spend and write that down. You can call it shelter. So right underneath our fictitious $3,000 a month, I wrote shelter. And there are formulas out there that do like the 50, 30, 20 rule, where you should spend up to 50% on shelter and then like 30% on needs and wants. That you can check out before this one. I like to be more specific because that it's just too blanketed for everybody's needs. All right, so under shelter, go ahead and write down whatever your number is for how much you spend on your shelter. I'm gonna take what I currently pay as well and put that down. So automatically right away, remember thinking about you're telling your money where to go every month. You got your income, that $3,000, you know shelter right away. I need to pay for my family and I to live. Line number one, perfect. Next thing on the list is food. Now, budgeting wise, how much do you spend on food? My budget specifically is monthly. So I spend, so Lauren, you say this is hard. I'm curious about that. Meaning it's hard to stick to those numbers, or?
Hard to figure out how much to budget and hard to stick to it.
Okay. Yes, good one. So I'll write that down because we can definitely address that. Hard to that we will definitely take care of in the needs or the wants section. Okay. So food. Let's go to food. So in food, part of this too is shopping around. But under food, roughly think about how much you spend a month on food and put that down as your second line item. Someone else wrote insurance. That's a good one. Internet. Education. Water and electricity, I'm going to group together under a utilities heading. And insurance again, and then gas money, yes. All right, so now that we have all of our needs in, so I can address that question or that comment of this is hard. So let's think about wants. How many of you want a big house? Yes? No? No? Okay, so that's good. So when you're thinking of what to budget, you can get realistic with yourself and asking those questions of, okay, what do I really need instead of want? So when it comes to your shelter, what is comfortable? Is it 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms? The size of your family can help you with that. And that's how you know how to budget. And then part of it too is shopping around. Knowing what you need is most important because you're going to be telling your money where to go based on your need. So if it's only $1,000 a month to pay for your living situation, that's it. That's how you know. Because when you're thinking about it, I only need 3 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms cost me $1,000 a month. So I'm going to need $1,000 a month. I don't need 2,000 because that's not where my needs are, because nobody said they wanted the big house. So paying attention to what those needs are is important. So then we go to food. How many people eat like steak every day? Probably not. Exactly, probably not. And part of this too is lifestyle habits with food. I know we all want to eat healthy, but how many of us really do eat healthy? So if you're going to the store with, I wrote down 150. So if you're going to the store with $150, then you need to stick to that budget. You know, you don't need the steak every day. You don't need the Oreos. You don't need the chips. What you need are the vegetables, things that are going to sustain you, things that are important, your needs. So a little bit of this too is, you know, lifestyle and discipline. So when you say, I don't know what to budget, you do. Part of it is just making yourself make those harder decisions as well. Insurance, medical or not, depending on your employer, you could have employer-sponsored healthcare plans, and that money is taken out of your paycheck. Your HR department should give you some information on the plans that you have or that they have to offer you. And each of those plans comes with a price. Now, there's going to be one that's more expensive than the other. So again, going back to those needs, if you have a family of 4 and you are going to be the one paying for that insurance, what is going to cover your family of 4 comfortably? Whether that is vision, Lauren, actually, we got all of you are wearing glasses. So vision is important to your family. Dental is important. We all have teeth, yeah. So dental is important. Really going back to those fundamental needs. What does your family need? What do you need? And making sure, well, in the insurance purposes, the coverage is good for your family. And then you get a number for that. So I'm just going to say, for a family of 4, let's just go with $100 a month. And whether that is plan A, B, or C, or anything like that with those insurance and benefits. And internet. So internet, depending on who your provider is, like at my house, we have Comcast. Now, Comcast, every year they like to bump up my Lauren, you're there. They like to bump up my number. But I know that between myself and my fiance, we have like 3 laptops, our TV's connected to the internet. We have 2 tablets. So we do a lot of streaming. I'm on Zoom all day. So paying attention to, okay, how much speed do I need? Going back to those needs. And for us right now, 200 megabits per second is good. That is good for us. So another thing is reading what you're paying for. How many megabits are you paying for? Are you paying for all the way up to a terabyte when you don't need that? Or are you paying for 50 megabytes per second when you might need 100 or so? Going back to those needs and reading, always read what you're paying for. So currently at my house, I pay $49.99 a month for our internet.
Wow.
And that's at the 200 megabits per second. And I don't know if you know this, but depending on where you live, that is the type of internet you can get. Like, like Verizon does not service where I live. So part of it too is I can't shop around because this is this is my option. Education. So let's see. Cheryl, you said education. Are you thinking like college or like free stuff like this? You just hop on a Zoom and learn about budgeting.
I have 3 kids, and yeah, that's a big part of our budget going towards college,
Okay.
where you have to
Student
plan
loans as well.
Student loans, exactly. That we will cover in debt. So, education. Let's see. I'm going to leave that one open for now, and we'll come back to that. But next thing is utilities. This is another one kind of like electric, whoever your servicer is. And depending on where you live, if you have a house, you got to pay that water bill. I live in an apartment, so I don't pay for water. But also, and tracking that stuff too. For my electric, I actually prepay for it. That would be something to look into with your electric providers, whether or not you can prepay. So I prepay and then I use whatever I paid for. And then I can track and see like, oh, I have like 2 days left and I need to put more money on it. So looking into programs and things like that can help your family's needs, and tracking how much you use, on certain days or certain times throughout the year, you might use more electricity or not. So part of this too is being diligent in understanding what it is you're paying for in all of this. So me in electric, I pay about $80 a month. And that goes, that's gas money. Okay. And one of the last ones was gas money. So how you have to factor in how long is your commute? Is it an hour? Is it an hour and a half? Is it 20 minutes? Is it 3 minutes? So for me, it's about 45 minutes. And my car, when I fill it up, it's about $40 or so. So, and I did track it and I fill it up probably like 3 times a month. So that's like $120 for me. So some of these things might be hard to budget because it's going to take a little bit of your time to just see what happens over time. So when you are driving your car, keep your receipts. How many people keep their receipts? Okay, so kind of, okay. So when the people are like, "Do you want your receipt?" You're like, "Nah, you can keep it." Yeah, so I like to keep my receipts to then track all this stuff. So then that's how I know how to budget too. Like I'd say over a year and a half ago, I didn't know how much money I was spending on gas. I was just doing it whenever it was on E. But once I started paying attention to it, I know now that if nothing really changes and I don't travel too much outside of my regular commute, I'm gonna need $120 a month for my gas to get back and forth to work. And then anything outside of that, I got to do some more moving around. So that takes care of all of our needs. Is this where student loan payments come in? Aaron, we'll talk about that in the debt section. Just thinking about this and keeping track of our $3,000 a month, I'm going to subtract the shelter, which I have is 1,000. food, $150. Insurance, I said about $100 a month. The internet, $4.99. $80 a month for my utilities, and then subtract my gas money. So after taking care of all of those needs in our $3,000 kind of fictitious number, we're down to about $1,500 left. So we spent about half of that money. And this $3,000 is just one income. So if it's you and a partner, then you have both of those incomes that you can work off of. All right. So now let's go into wants. So this is more of like education, not education, entertainment and stuff like that. So what are some of the wants? And I would like you to think about wants in just like a month, not like, oh, I want a new car, I want to go on vacation, like wants. Do you want to go to the movies when they open back up? Do you want ice cream? Do you want to go to an amusement park? So what are some wants in about a month? Did you say 150 and the groceries is for a family of 4 for a month? So Lauren, no, that is not. Okay, yeah. So that is just a number I picked based off me and my partner, but for a family of 4, I would almost like double that. So some wants for me, let's see. I like to shop. Ooh,
Well, I would
excellent.
say I want to be able to go out to, say, dinner or a movie or something like that with friends. That's probably kind of a last minute sort of an unplanned thing, a spontaneous. So I've had to keep a little reserve for that. And what about, I want a new pair of walking shoes to go hike the new trails in my neighborhood. Is that a need or a want? Why would you do that, Mary?
Ooh, that would be a want because you want those.
I don't, I have shoes.
Yeah, you have shoes. You don't necessarily need them.
Yeah.
However, just kind of skipping it ahead a little bit, thinking about like lifestyle and enjoying life.
Okay.
It could be a need because it could keep you and your budget sane, I'd
There you
say.
go. Okay.
Then you would be buying those sneakers, making that expense one time, and then going out and enjoying life instead of spending more money everywhere else.
Okay, good.
So,
We also have Netflix and Disney as a need. My kids' sports.
yes.
Yeah.
That is good. Okay, perfect. Yep. These are definitely wants. All right, so let's talk about that streaming. Nowadays, we cannot escape it. We cannot. Streaming is here and it's here to stay. What's the newest one that came out? Paramount Plus. I feel like every big and entertainment business is now taking all their stuff back and they're like, okay, now pay me for it. So okay. So currently I have Hulu, Disney Plus, and it's cheaper than cable, I found. So definitely that too. So whatever your streaming number comes up to, definitely add that under your wants as another line item. So with my Hulu and Disney Plus, I pay $12.99 a month, which I think it's actually going up to $13 a month.
A penny?
Or no, $13.99.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. Yep. I actually think it's going up. I also pay for Apple Music. That is a want of mine. I enjoy music. That comes out every month. Now, some other wants that maybe yep, Amazon Prime. You're right there, Lauren. That's exactly what I was going to talk about. The yearly subscription, I actually think that is budget friendly because you only have to worry about it one time. So when you budget for that once, it's out of the way. And then all year long, that is offhand, how much is your yearly subscription? Perfect. Okay. Yes. So then that's just one time. So then in your budget, there's $129 that can go somewhere else. I know that right now I have the Amazon Prime subscription. It's costing me like $6 with like the education discount. But yeah, that too. Perfect. And then Barbara, you were talking about the dinner and the movie and some type of spontaneous stuff like that. My budget, I do have a miscellaneous section where I have given myself a certain amount of money per month that I'm just going to spend on dinner and a movie or going out. So there's that much too. Oh, kids sports. This one, definitely. So I'm sure there's probably equipment costs. There's that I'd even put into some gas money, getting your kids to and from the sport. And then another part of that too, like we said, was just keeping those receipts. So whether you're paying for sports equipment, shoes, knee pads, whatever sport they play. So Jessica, I'm wondering if when you say kids sports, is there a monthly cost associated to these? Do you have to pay every month for your kid to say participate in soccer? Or is it just like one time or like the shoes and equipment and stuff?
Oh, so.
Awesome.
Oh,
Okay.
all of the above.
All of the above, right? Perfect. All right. Monthly, and then soccer is once. Awesome. So then it also seems like too, for the soccer, you can plan ahead. If you know that, okay, soccer season's coming up in 2 months or 3 months, you can start saving for that as well. And then it can be something that your budget looks forward to. So then you can stay ahead of the game on that. Along the lines of kids, how do you budget spending or saving for them? Excellent. So as we go along, we have our needs. So in our mindset, we're thinking, okay, for this month, I know that me and my family are going to have a roof over our heads. I know me and my family are going to be able to eat for this month. I know me and my family are going to be able to visit the eye doctor if we need to. We're going to have internet. We're going to have our electricity, lights in the house, water. And then some of those wants in terms of, okay, we are going to be able to watch Disney Plus. We might even be able to go out to a dinner together. And we might be able to go and attend a soccer game for one of our kids because we're paying for that too. So to your question, Lauren, of how do you budget spending or saving for them? Once all of those things are taken care of first, then you can start to think about what that looks like. So budget spending for them, what exactly, if you can, would you be spending? Is it clothes for them? I would even call that a need. So that we have to know about. And then what is it that they do need? Do they need a uniform for school? Or do they just need a couple shirts and pants and a pair of shoes? And then of course, shopping around wherever you like to shop. And I don't think you're going to be traveling to what's a big mall close to here, like King of Prussia in Philadelphia. You're probably not going to go there. and start picking $100 things off the rack? Of course not. But you might go to like maybe the mall or somewhere or TJ Maxx or something and reasonably spend. So that's that thinking along the lines. Okay, so how do I budget spending for this? So I know my kid is growing out of their shirts. Okay, so I want to make sure this month they have 5 new shirts. Okay, so then we got to stick to that. Let's go to TJ Maxx and get 5 shirts. They're probably like $7.99 each. So it's like $40 in shirts right there. And then once all the needs are taken care of, you have a number. Right now we're at $1,500 a month still left. Then once we go through again with all of our wants, our subscriptions and things like that, there should be another number. And then we can start subtracting from that based on what it is next or important to you and your family. So saving, that's a good segue. Let's get into saving. But before that, let's go to debt. So I know someone else was talking about, talking about student loans and stuff like that. Absolutely. So let me just do some quick math real quick to see where I am. So we got 1299 minus 100 minus, let's just go 200 minus 129. All right. So now, after some of our wants, we're at 1,153.03. So now when it comes to your debt, we have to label debt. So is it credit card debt? Is it that you have student loans, some other forms of debt? Maybe you have a personal loan you have to pay off. Nobody mentioned, oh, well, transportation. That would be a car. That would go in a need. But debt. So paying the minimum amount on your debt will accrue interest. So you'll always be making that minimum payment, but then you'll have interest. And then you're just going to be trying to play catch up forever. So if you can, try paying off all of it at one time. If it's a huge amount, then yes, you are going to have to use some techniques. So in our last workshop, we learned about debt stacking. So if you have a credit card, the car loan, and maybe some student debt, you start with your lowest amount first. So let's just say if it's a credit card, you would pay your minimum balance on everything until you paid off that one credit card. Once you paid off that one credit card, you can then take that amount and add it to, let's say, a car loan. So now you're paying your minimum payment on your car loan plus the credit card amount, and now you're paying that off, paying more, getting ahead of that interest. And then once you pay that off, you add now that credit card number, the car loan number, all onto your student debt. So now you're paying even more on the student debt and paying off your debt faster. So if you were just paying the minimum, it would take you almost like double to pay off your debt. But if you do the debt stacking, it's a shorter amount of time. So part of that too is understanding how much you need to pay in debt. I know for me, it was like, oh man, it was just kind of like, I wanted to avoid it a little bit. And I'm like, oh, debt, I don't want to pay people back. But once you really start to sit down and see what it is that you have to pay, it becomes a lot easier. And staying diligent too, making those payments, because debt-free is it definitely should be a goal. Okay. And always making those payments too. Debt is huge. It also affects your credit score. And that's another thing too, taking a look at your credit score too. I'd say every 3 months, try looking into what your credit score is, getting a credit report. There are 3 major reporting bureaus. So yes, 3 times a year, take a look at those. You can get it for free. To keep your family safe, to keep your money safe. Perfect. Okay, so now savings. Yep, Lauren, you had the question for saving for them, of course. So as a rule of thumb, you should have an emergency savings account for about 3 to 6 months of your income. So for our purposes, we had that $3,000 kind of number. So let's multiply that by 3 to 6 months. So 3 months would be, what's that, $9,000. And then 6 months is about $18,000. So that sounds like a lot, but it's something you can work towards. And this emergency fund is really for emergencies. So whether that is a flat tire, someone you need to pay a deductible on your health insurance, or, you know, nobody saw this coming, I think, for the most part, you know, COVID. Many people lost their jobs, many people lost their homes, but people who were before saving for this maybe have lost their job, but they used their emergency fund to keep them going until they were able to find another job or unemployment kicked in. So that's really what your emergency savings account is about. And I would even say, because one of the things we learned in the last workshop too is paying yourself first. So however much money that you can put in, currently I put $50 right off the top into a savings account. So whatever that is for you, whatever you can budget for. And back to that question of, I don't know how to budget. Well, part of it is finding out how to, where is your money going? And then being able to say, okay, I know I can put $75 away a month. I know I can put away $100 a month. And making sure that happens right away, first thing for that emergency fund. Then the next one is a short-term savings. So this one, think about like 6 to 24 months. So from now, six months, 6 to 24 months. So when we're thinking about saving for kids, is there anything in the next 6 to 24 months that you're saving for? It could be you want to take your kids to Disneyland, or you want to go visit a relative in another state, vacations, anything like that. So along that thinking, and then find out how much it's going to cost. How much is it going to cost to take your family of 3 or 4 to Disney? It might be, I don't know, probably like $3,000-$4,000. So if you know you need that, part of that is, you know, doing some reading, finding out how much a hotel is, flying there, and then being like, okay, I know I need $3,000 for our trip to Disney in a year and a half. Okay, so I have a year and a half to set money aside. And then you can do a little bit of math. Can you put away $200 a month? Can you put away $200 this month and then $75 this month? And then keeping yourself consistent and making sure you get to that goal. So by the time it rolls around, you have the money for your vacation or whatever it is that's that goal or that short term. Let's see, in my case, I'm planning my wedding. So we started saving about like 5 months ago. So, and we sat down and we said, okay, this is how much we need. This is how much we can put away. And we've been doing that every month. And then we have your long-term savings. So this is going to be like 24 months and beyond. So we're thinking about investments, retirement, and I'd even probably think, Lauren, thinking about like education for your kids, college. There are things out there specifically for saving for college. The number offhand kind of escapes me. I think it's like a 529. Yep, yeah, 529, yes. So there's that as well. And another thing too is being able to shop around too and be like, okay, what school do I want my kid to attend? Are they going to stay local in state? Are they going to go out of state? And then what does that look like? How much? Are they going to attend a college where they stay home so you don't have to pay room and board? Or do they want that room and board experience? And being able to set that goal, and then how much money can we put away for that, whether it's in that 529 or anything like that. And then retirement. If you have an employer-sponsored retirement, that money usually comes out pre-tax. So that's already happening in your income. Okay, so anybody have any questions or anything at the moment? As a stay-at-home mom, how would you suggest handling retirement for myself? Ooh, honestly, the first thing that comes to my mind is, because as a stay-at-home mom, I'd say your first job is your family, your kids and your family. So retirement to me would look like no kids. So they are off and they are doing their own thing. They're budgeting for themselves. They're going to school. They're doing all that. So some things to ask yourself in terms of kids is, how am I helping them to enjoy their lives? So is it that they're going to go to college, get a job, and then go off and be able to afford their lives? So that's number one, to get, you to retirement. And then also, what does retirement look like for you? Is it that you want to retire and then you want to travel the world, or you just want to, buy a beach house and just sit on the beach and relax until it's all said and done? Asking yourself those questions, and then being able to, go and speak to someone like a Edward Jones or any other retirement options, and then letting them know what your goals are. In all of this, you are in control, and never forget that. It's your money and you tell it where to go. So if it's that you want to retire and travel the world, that's going to have some expenses to it. And people who are well-versed in retirement and investments, they know all about inflation. They know all about that stuff. So they'll be able to tell you, based on your goals, what number you might need. And then, of course, they're going to present that to you. And then, they're like, is this good enough and all that stuff. And then just remembering that, yes, because my goal is I want to retire and travel the world, I'm going to need this much. Knowing that you did all that work too. So your kids are out there and they are living their lives. They have their own kids, their own homes, and they're budgeting too. So that's what I'd say is retirement for you.
So Mary, would you also suggest IRAs, putting it maybe a little bit every month in an IRA that could add up to the little, while she's nice and young?
Yes. Yep. That is a good one. So the IRA is an individual retirement account. So yes, you can put money into that as well. As far as specifics and whatever your needs would be, right. I would definitely ask for those. They'll probably be like, okay, would you like a Roth IRA or regular IRA? And then of course, the 529. So there are packages out there that you can set up. And
yes. It was a nice way to kind of budget a monthly amount in that would get up to the 2,000, which was the goal of mine years ago. So yeah.
Perfect. Yes. Yep.
That was my other question.
All right. Awesome. Now that we have talked about, Why? We want to control our money, and that's exactly what a budget does. It will tell you where to put your money, or it'll tell you're telling your money where to go. This is a living document, so this isn't something that you just make one time and it fits for you. No, as your kids get older, there might be even more expenses for some of those sports. Like right now, Jessica, I'm not sure what age your kids are, but if they're like 5 and 6 and they're just running around playing soccer a little bit, but once they start getting 14, 15, and then now we're traveling to AAU games, or there's more conferences to go to, you may need a bigger budget for that. But it's nice to know where we started. Let's see. Some of those wants and needs may change, but keeping something that you can always refer back to will give you peace of mind, because it definitely has given me peace of mind. Every month, I try to stick to it. And if I go too long without going back to it, I'm like, I don't know how much money I have to spend right now. And I need to go back and kind of be like, all right, so I went to McDonald's too many times this month, and then I gotta go back through. And another thing about investments that I really was thinking about for this is investing in yourself. So coming to this workshop today, I'd say that this is investing in you. So good job for you. And retirement, investing for, your 6 to 24 months, that is all great. But what are you doing today, this week, this month, to make sure that you are happy, healthy, and gonna make it there? You're putting all this, you put all this money into a retirement account, you put all this money into a Roth IRA, whatever. But what are you doing to make sure that you can, in however many months that you're there, to take it out and then enjoy it? So some things that are in my budget that I think about for this is I pay for the gym every month. I enjoy that. It's keeping me healthy. It's keeping me active, helps my mental health. And that is going to sustain me as I'm making these goals. My wedding's coming up. I want to look good on my wedding day. So that is something I'm investing in that is going to help me in my future. And it's going to make me better for my family. So what is it for you that you are going to invest in to help you? And I think that paying attention to that too will help you answer some of those questions of, how do I know what to budget? How do I know what to do? Part of it is getting to know you. You have those answers, and that's all you need to know is what do you want? And then once you figure that out, you'll be able to say, okay, I know what I need. I know what I want. I know I don't need 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 bedrooms. I just need something comfortable for me and my family. So I definitely encourage you to continue to stay honest with yourself and look in yourself too for a lot of these answers. So another thing that I want to share with you to help you kind of figure out some of these goals is something called SMART goals. So SMART stands for specific, measurable, action-oriented, they're realistic, and they're timed. Okay, so for the S, get specific with your goals. So some of those like savings accounts, some of them had really specific months on them. So that emergency fund was 3 to 6 months. That's specific. We want 3 to 6 months of our income so that into an emergency fund. This one, for example, I want to lose weight for my wedding. The M stands for measurable. So measure it. What is it? Quantify your goal. It's specific and quantify it. In this example, you want to lose 10 pounds before the wedding. I want to have 3 months of an emergency fund by July 30th, 2021. It's measurable. It's action oriented. What actions are you going to take to meet these goals. If it's that emergency fund, are you going to put $50 a month into an account? In this example, it's stick to personalized diet and exercise programs that requires action. It's going to take action to meet your goals. It's realistic. Be realistic. There is no way you're going to save 3 to 6 months of your savings in, I don't know, a week. It's just not going to happen. And being realistic with yourself too also lessens some anxiety. I know finances and money can cause some people some anxiety, but if you just get realistic with what it is that you need or want and your goal, it should lower some of the anxiety, because now you're going to set the goal, you're going to take some action and be realistic with yourself. In this example, it's 10 pounds is easily within your reach. 10 pounds is easy. You want to lose 10 pounds, that's easy. And then timed. So yes, give your goal a time. So if you want to have that emergency savings 3 to 6 months in the next 5 months, that is timed. So then you can take diligent action every month, every day, every week, whatever it is, to get to that goal. And then in this example, you have 4 months to go. So stay dedicated and you will make it. Another word that's coming to my head is consistency. Consistency all the way. So when you're making these goals, stay consistent. Even if some things change in your goal, stay consistent, because you have that goal for a reason. Going back to that why at the beginning of why you wanted this budget. It's to control your money. And you'll start to see that once you stay consistent with this, you are in control of your money and where it's going, and what's happening with it. And I think this stuff is fun. So there's that too. You can have a little fun with it. All right. So does anybody have or wants to share one big goal you're saving for, or one big budget item that's like, yeah, I'm saving for that? I haven't started saving yet, but I do want a kayak. I do want a kayak. Yes. And another thing that a budget does is it sets boundaries as well. So if you know you're saving to take your kids to Disneyland in several months, you can't go out to eat all the time. So your budget is saying, we can't do this. And then it is okay to say no. I know some people struggle with saying no, but that budget will definitely help you say no. Okay. So I'm looking over my budget now to see if there's anything else. I also color code mine as well. So all my income is in green and all my expenses are in red.
And where do you have that color coded, Mary? Is it on,
So
on your computer or on your phone?
on my phone, yeah. So I have an iPhone, and the Excel app or whatever, it's called Numbers. And you can, it's like an Excel sheet, but that is what I use. And I have like a main budget where, like, ideally, this is what's supposed to happen every month. And then each month is the other tabs of what actually happens. And I try to stick to it as much as possible. There are some months where I probably spend too much eating out. That's where my money goes. I eat out a lot, a lot.
I think you talked about this the last one, but writing down what you actually spend your money on and see,
Oh,
really look
yeah.
at what a typical month or 2 months. that-
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
Yep. And I enjoy doing this because then I can go back and see, oh, I spend a lot of money at, for instance,
Right.
McDonald's. Or this month, yeah, this was eating out a lot.
Yeah, there's certain times of the year in my case where my work is extremely busy. It's a book sale, making money for the library. And if I don't plan ahead and have dinners that I can just pop in, I am driving through whoever, Popeyes, McDonald's, whatever on the way, spending more money, getting tons of more sodium that I don't need. But if I just go on a Sunday and cook, even if it's just a chicken, and so that helps my budget and my health. So.
Exactly. Yep. And then, yep, your budget, setting those boundaries and planning ahead too, just like you said, Barbara.
Yeah.
Okay, I know this is happening. Like, for instance, around Valentine's Day, I know that I'm going to be spending money around Valentine's Day, but last year I probably spent, I don't know, $100. Let's try to keep it at that $100 for this year. And usually I don't even really need to be spending that much. So, but it definitely adds peace of mind too. Something I did was went over the previous bank statements and categorized all the items spent. Nice.
That's a great
yes. Yep. That is what I have to do too. Oh yeah. And actually, remember that living document. I think I'm going to get rid of my Amazon because I don't need it. So things like that. So nice. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you so much for sharing that. Any other questions or tips or anything anybody would want? Just a tip, my husband and I have been using an app called Money Lover, which is very convenient for tracking expenses and budgeting by categories and just overall. Perfect. Another thing that my apps have been doing for my banks, they too will put together like a pie chart of your spending. So even if you don't feel like going out and looking for other apps and stuff like that, check the banks you bank at. They can help you as well. And I don't know about anybody else, but my banks recently have been giving me my credit score. So that's another thing. And set a goal for yourself of, reviewing what you pay for. So if you have, currently I have 2 cars on my insurance policy, but going back and reviewing that and seeing what it is you pay for. Are you paying for the roadside assistance? Are you paying, is there a discount on there for like multi-car policies and stuff like that? Because sometimes you might not need some things, and some are good with putting on some discount things, but it's something to review.
One odd thing I did, it was many years ago, I got a new job and I was setting up my auto payroll to go right to the bank. And they set up that I think it was $50 was just taken out of the paycheck and went to a savings account. So I didn't even see it to worry about budget. And over time, then that was a surprise money or saving for the 6 months ahead. And it was when it wasn't even there for me to try to work on my budget, that was a way that helped me save. So I didn't see it, and it was over there helping me in the future. So that was the bank's idea, but it worked for me. So
yes, oh yeah, and some banks will round up.
Okay.
So if it's like 45 cents or something, they'll put that into a savings account for you.
Oh, look.
see. So Lauren says, my husband's company made him permanently virtual. Okay. So we are able to drop some, oh, perfect. Perfect. Exactly. Yep. Might also want to look into tax credits on home offices. That's something that was new this year that I saw. So yeah, I would do some research on that. And you probably see us saving on gas too. That I love working from home for that, saving on gas. Because before I would need $120 a month. Now I only need like fill it up one time. Well, no problem, Jessica. Thanks for coming. And hopefully these tips and the things we talked about will definitely help. All right, so here's a tip. Always look at a coupon code before buying online.
Oh.
Yep. Absolutely. And another thing that comes to my mind is now, as I'm getting a little older too, I am more specific in the things that I want. Like I said, I want a kayak. So like I'm more invested in like adventures like that. So I'm not just spending my money anyway. It's like, no, I want to kayak. I want to do more active things. So, you know, I can have those goals of and put my money where I need it to go. It helps to sign up for emails from your common companies and send out good discounts. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. And I actually started reading more. That's why I'm giving you guys the tip of always read what you're paying for. My electric company, this doesn't really apply too much, but they give away grants to companies and nonprofits and stuff like that. So, I mean, if Lauren, if you're thinking about opening up a nonprofit in your life, but yes, and stuff like that, like there are like programs out there, discounts, even like if you subscribe to, let's say, Geico, they could give you like 10% off at the local restaurants in town or something like that. So yes, definitely looking into discounts and things like that. Oh, scholarships too. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And Cheryl, back to your education expense, that's important for your family. So making those decisions of like where do you want to go to school, room and board, and then of course adding that into your budget as well. Okay, awesome. All right, so that is all that I have in terms of budgeting. This, like I said, living document, action, consistency, diligence, all that stuff. And then I'd say if you start today, in about 2 or 3 months, you should see your results of knowing where your money's going, how much money you're spending in places. You might even start picking up on some habits you didn't even see, like, oh, you know, me and my family, we love to, I don't know, love to get donuts after soccer practice or something. So yeah, and then it is eye-opening, like you said, Lauren. Okay. All right.
And take good care of your kitty cat. What's your cat's name, Lauren? Well, you can type it. Cats seem to be cool with Zoom. Yeah. Oh, Toby.
Yeah. Toby.
Hi, Toby. Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. If you have questions, email the library. I'll pass them on to Mary. This event is being recorded. It'll be on Facebook, the library's Facebook page, and I'll send out there are a few people who weren't able to make it. I'll send out a little announcement that they can catch up with this, or they may want to play it back later and say, what did Mary say about something? And so they can, or share that with their family members. So this will be available for anybody to use down the road. Oh,
Awesome.
thank you. Good mom, Lauren.
I know, right? Got to keep it quiet.
It's not his
Yes.
time. Yeah.
Okay. All
Well,
right.
thank you all very much.
Yes. Okay.
Mary.
You're welcome. Best of luck to all of you. See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.